Hey team, it's day 35. I hope you guys are doing great. Wanting to get into the 6 goals, but also tonight I did my Facebook Live for my elite Facebook group, which has, my 4 pillars as a life coach is, around the physical, financial, relationship, and kind of a mindset or learning side. So one of my content offerings tonight was on how to achieve a growth mindset. And I just thought to myself when I was ready to erase, I'm like, whoa. I'm just going to throw the 6 goals in the corner and what my achievement was. And then I really think that this, what I did tonight for my Facebook Live also plays into just goals, and especially what I'm doing over 90 days or anything that you may be doing as it relates to those 4 pillars or a number of other things related to just goals and growth and bettering yourself every day. So it was a 30-minute Facebook Live. I promise I will not make this that long. And you know what? God's funny. I actually already recorded a video where I said I wasn't going to be that long, and the video was like 18 minutes, and it was great. I thought it was awesome. And I was going to bring you guys great content with that video, and then I go and I started listening to it, no sound. So make sure you check when you're recording these things that your mic's on, and my wireless mic was not on. I've checked it a couple different times. So you know what? Too bad. It's unfortunate for you guys. You're not going to see the awesomeness that was in that silent video. Even my daughter, who does a lot of video stuff, she's like, Dad, can you even do a voiceover? And I'm like, no, because I don't plan these things. I don't remember what I'm going to say. It comes from the knowledge that I have based on the subject, based on what I've done in the past. But so anyway, you guys are losing out. I promise I will try to cut this shorter than the 18 minutes, but I believe this is a lot of good stuff. So let's get into the 6 goals. Day 35, I was 220, right there, right on the dot. So I jumped out of the teens like I thought I would today, but in the same sense, it's like I'm pushing on those teens. They're scared right now. They're scared. 2,110 calories, 125 ounces of water, 6 hours of sleep. I woke up a little early and I just couldn't, get myself back to sleep. And once you get to that 6, you only have an hour to make your 7. And I think I was going to get right at 7. So I just got up and started doing things. So 45 minutes of activity and 207 grams of protein. So now that I got the sound on and I'm ready to go, let's get into how do you achieve a growth mindset. And really, I'll try to use myself in this as the example as we go through this, but it's really 2 sides. I always say it's 2 sides of the board, 2 sides of the coin. One is, what do you need to be asking yourself at regular intervals? And I like to say daily, but whatever those intervals are to you, like what checkpoints do you have as it relates to your goals, right? And then in the same sense, what self-talk are you doing based on the answers to these questions? So this is kind of both sides of the board. And to me, if you don't have a litmus test of what you're doing and checking yourself, you're going to be in trouble, okay? So let's get into the questions first and foremost, right? First of all, you need a goal, okay? With a growth mindset, you got to be growing in something. So that's your goal, or that's the subject of what you want to grow, right? So then we ask ourselves these questions like, what'd you learn today? Well, if you don't have a goal and you don't have steps to that goal, it's kind of tough to answer. It's like when you start working out and you say, hey, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, right? Some crazy thing and some great supplement company just sold you guys a bill of goods. And it's like, dude, I'm ready to go. And you run, you come home with your pills and you take your pills and then you like start running around and you go to the gym and then you come home and you're like, oh, I can do this. And you starve yourself a little bit the first day. And then the second day it's like, okay, I don't know if I have the right kind of food. So you eat like a rabbit and some celery maybe that you had in there. And then all of a sudden you get a couple days into this, you weren't prepared because that emotional high of, oh, this is awesome. And in the end you're like, whoops, you quit, right? So what'd you learn today? If you can't answer that question, reassess what you have for your goals. What steps did you take to achieve your goals? So, and for me with this 90-day challenge that I'm doing, 26 pounds, I'm like, yeah, I had my stuff set out day 1 when I came to you guys. So I planned out what I believe was going to be the right steps, okay? What are some things you could have done differently? Well, I could have slept a little more last night. Maybe I would have been in that 219. Maybe the lipolysis breakdown. Maybe I would have flushed. So many of those things is like, what could you have done differently? So sleep. I wasn't hitting one in my trifecta. I could sleep more. What are some barriers you broke through? Well, I didn't eat carbs, simple carbs, within 2 hours of going to bed, and that's been tough. I want chips right now. I want to go house some chips. So if I want to talk about my barriers, it's breaking through the food cravings that I have, just because I like eating like that every once in a while. And the reason why I'm doing this challenge is so I can actually get in better habits. And I know I'm on day 35, but occasionally, because I'm just doing calories, I'm not doing a ton of focus on macros, I'll eat chips and I'll eat those things. And I've always been a late night eater. So for me, it's like I'm trying to shift my calories during the day as much as I can and before my workout rather than after. So those are some of the barriers, but there are a lot of other barriers you would have to break through. But we'll talk more about that on the flip side. And did you learn anything from someone or something, that's already achieved or is achieving what you really want to be? This is where I say, if you don't have a mentor, or if you don't have like a ideal spot or ideal vision of who you want to be or what you want to be, and kind of where you're going, if you don't have anyone to emulate or follow after, it may not be 100% of a bad thing, but there's always going to be somebody out there who's done it or is doing it, unless you are on the tip of the spear in a new technology. But we're talking about self and personal development here and a growth mindset. You should have somebody that you can learn from, or maybe competitors if you're doing ad sets or whatever you're doing. Like, you should have somebody that you can see and do. And did you learn anything from that? Did you go out on YouTube? Did you go out and do any courses? Did you do any learning, any listening? What did you learn from the people that have already been there? So the next thing is, here's the answers to the questions. So if you have an accountability partner, you can do this together. Like, one, you guys can ask each other questions, and this is just the answers that I do to myself. This is called self-talk, right? And it's not the voices in your head. Like, my voice is like a Powerball. My ideas are a Powerball machine, and whatever pops out sometimes is not appropriate, but most of the time I manage. But this is the self-talk around answers to these questions and how you respond, really. So it's, what did you learn today? Well, for me, it could be, I learned I need more sleep, or when I learned that, oh man, I finally pinpointed that it's probably my night eating that's stunting a little bit of my days of drops in calories. So when you learn something, and it's like, damn it, I want those chips. And it's like, no, you can't have them because this is a challenge. But guess what? I believe in myself. I believe I'm going to get that 26 pounds. I believe it. And I can tell you, I'm having to make adjustments, but I believe overall that goal is going to be there. Now, the mechanism and stuff may have to change, or the process, or the way I do certain things, but I believe in myself. So if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. You got to believe in yourself. And I know we do have people that believe in us, but in the same sense, it's like we are our hardest and our biggest critics. So you are hardest on yourself. And so it's hard not to have the self-defeating thoughts. Like, if you didn't do anything today, it's just, you can get into a swirl of self-defeating thoughts, but you got to remember to bring yourself back up. You got to believe in yourself. This is challenging. If it wasn't challenging, it wouldn't be worth it. Anything you have that is worth it in your life was hard to get. Test me on that one. Test me on that. So, second one, what steps did you take to achieve your goals? Well, it could be like, oh, I stepped up in water, for instance. Like, hey, I drank more water. I drank 10 more ounces of water today. I'm not quite to my triple digits yet, but I drank more water. Well, you haven't achieved it yet, but keep doing those things consistently, and eventually you will. So consistency is key. So you got to talk to yourself and say, hey, even though I'm not there, and that comes back to believing in yourself and believing in the process, right? And then the third thing is, what are some things you could have done differently? We fail at sometimes. We fall on our face sometimes. But you can't give yourself just only negative reviews. So this is where I say, and some people might not agree with this, but this is where I say you have to pat yourself on the back a little bit. You have to actually think, okay, I did accomplish what I set out to do today. Yeah, it was the wrong thing, and I should have did this, but I'm going to do that tomorrow, so I learned. So you got to actually give yourself credit for failing forward. Failing fast, failing forward. You've probably heard that before. But you got to pat yourself on the back a little. And maybe that's the wrong way to put it, but that's just me. So, and then the third one, or the fourth one is, what are some barriers that you broke through? And this is the one where I really want to pause for just a second. What barriers did you break through? What barriers? Like, I'm saying, oh, I got to get into the teens, right? I know I have to get through that barrier, but that's more of a result barrier. So for me, it was, okay, I got to cut out the starchy carbs. Or when it comes to getting my brand out there, it is, we talked about this on a call tonight with Todd Campbell, who's awesome, by the way. I struggle with the 1-minute videos. Like, I haven't truly gotten to those 1-minute videos because you can use those for multiple different platforms. So if you fail on one video, it's like exponentiated, and you fail on 4. So it's like, what barriers do you need to break through? And some people might not think that's a risk, but that's a risk for me. So you need to take risks. It's the only way you can learn. It's the only way. When you take risks, it goes with this one, you got to take risks because it's the only way we learn. So if you're not willing to take risk, you will never achieve your goals. You will never get better. You will never grow. If you don't fail, you will not grow. That's plain and simple as well. So don't be afraid to take those risks, or figure out a way to overcome those barriers. And because a lot of times they're self-barriers. So overcome that barrier. And for that, it's going to be a risk. And some people may be like, oh, that's so easy. But it may be easy for them. Don't ever compare yourself either. Take the risk based on what you are encountering as a barrier. Okay? And then, did you learn something else from someone who has achieved? So obviously, if you're learning, if you're checking out, never compare yourself, because the people that are super successful didn't get there just like that. It's not, they had a Staples button and hit easy, and all of a sudden they had billions in a Learjet. It's not like that. Every success story I've ever heard, they put tons and tons and tons of time and effort, tons and tons, and they were at where you are at right now. Okay? So give yourself some grace. It takes time, right? So it's going to take you time. And even this 90 days with the 26 pounds, I'll just roll all that back. Like, I believe in myself, right? And I haven't achieved it. So I'm doing my best to stay consistent with what I believe is the formula for success in this case. We've already made adjustments. I've made adjustments. I'm not eating 2 hours before I get to bed to starchy carbs. I patted myself on the back when I got to 219. Like, there's some accomplishments that you're doing, and it's like, what have you done differently? So after you do some things differently and you accomplish that, it's like, hey, let's take a little time. As far as the barriers, the barriers are just, especially in the weight loss, it's, going to the gym maybe. Maybe I'm going to have to do more resistance training to lose extra weight. And I don't like to lift. I hate to lift. As a matter of fact, I hate to go to the gym, or things like that are really going to be barriers for your goal. But then the last thing is, you do have to give yourself grace. If you're accomplishing all this, you just have to know it takes time. So you got to let up a little bit on yourself. So this is kind of like this is the accountability side, and this is a little bit of the affirmation side. And if you don't have both of those, or have somebody to help you with those, that's why I recommend getting a coach, getting a mentor. That's why I have my Elites Facebook group, because those are people looking for someone to nudge them along with their barriers and things, and as they stay in their growth mindset to achieve their goals. So it's not bad. Actually, I recommend mentors as much as you can, or mastermind groups to help you get there. Anyway, I probably made this one 18 minutes too, so I apologize, but I do think this is relevant content. Give me some comments below if you want, if you have questions or even suggestions or your thoughts on how do you achieve a growth mindset. Maybe we can get a conversation going. As always, if you want some additional content or different content, let me know and I'll do a video on it over the next couple videos that I do. And as always, I appreciate everybody's support out there. You guys are great. You've been super supportive and are part of the reason that I am trudging down to get that goal, and I will get that goal. And in the end, I do appreciate you all, and I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. So have a good rest of your day.